Following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. Just 2 races to go to find our 2026 Area Cup Series champion, presented by the Studio Temporary. A whole season coming down to just 2 races, one of them being here at the short track in Richmond, Virginia. Are you close to the championship line? Do you have a possibility to get it? Well, you're going to have to master the short track, find some luck, have some skill, have some things go your way, so that you have a chance to carry the trophy next week at Auto Club. 167 laps. Let's start now. Welcome everyone to PTR TV for today's coverage of the Area Cup Series, round number 4 of the chase. 2 to go here in the 2026 season, 167 laps around the short track. Myself, Corey Silva, in the booth, along with Hunter Sluppy. Of course, I'll be pushing the buttons as well. Hunter, we have had a great season of racing. 2 to go. Richmond, and finally rounding things up at Auto Club next week. Guys have to get themselves in position to go for that championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's do or die now. It's crunch time for these guys as we're down to the penultimate round of Season 8. Hard to believe that it's already here, but nonetheless, a phenomenal season so far from Jake Nichols. He enters tonight with an 18-point gap ahead of Van Drugman, as both are coming off solid performances from Charlotte, but Drugman going to need a little something to get himself closer to it, as is Sebastian Marin, who won last week at Charlotte and is looking for a possible back-to-back scenario. James Scioli, he enters tonight 33 back. He's kind of on the cusp of not being able to get that championship or be within reach of the championship. Reese Schaefer, 36 back. Seth Noel, 51 back. And then everybody else behind him seems to be out of contention. Drew Jewett, Logan Helen, John Forbes Jr., Josh Cottle, Michael Curran, and Dylan Ault. And when we talk about Richmond, well, we really haven't been here in recent years. The most recent we've been here was Season 5, which 2 chasers have won the last 2 races. Season 4 was Jake Nichols, Season 5 Seth Knoll, and really just a lot of unanswered questions that we're looking for the answers to tonight.
Absolutely. And this is an updated scan of the Richmond Raceway. Of course, they haven't paved this place, but iRacing originally had this place scanned in 2008. This track has aged, is much more bumpy, so we are racing on that slightly updated surface here. You can see Travis Beckner doing quite well, still trying to break that winless drought for 2026, but James Scioli, I believe they have 2 laps here. He is certainly going to need a little bit more to try to have a fighting chance here. Again, 4th in the points, needs to gain a lot here today. Don't want to start at the back on a short track. Let's see what he can do off of 4. A 288. That'll put him, I believe, P5. Excuse me. That's still a good spot for him.
Now, I'm not sure if this will be an issue tonight, but as we look through Frankie Barroso here, well, went away from him, Sebastian Marin's there. Turn 1, they had some modifications that they made, I believe, to their infield area whenever they did it. I want to say back in 2016, 2017, somewhere around there, but they redid, I believe, the tunnel area. Right before turn 1, you see there's a stretch of pavement there. I think cars will have a little bit of a bump going through turn 1. It wasn't there in the old scan, so going to be something new that these guys are going to have to adjust to, because I think that might play a problem for some guys going into turn 1.
And of course, this place is very slick. I haven't gotten to witness too much racing here in recent eras, so to speak. So I do know even on the front straightaway in the real world, they've actually been running the low line on the front straightaway in the real world just to find some grip, because this place is very wore out. Seeing in chat, when was this place repaved? I want to say, somebody fact check me, but I want to say it was around 04-ish, 05, somewhere in that ballpark. So it is a much older pavement, which drivers will certainly have to contend with. But we want to thank everyone for tuning in here to PTR TV. Of course, like, share, comment, subscribe. Join us in our YouTube chat. If you're on Twitch, consider following, subscribing, $5 a month, all the cool stuff that goes along with that. Although we are at the end of the season, you can still have some fun with those custom emotes and earn yourself some cool points there. But it is a relatively short race too, Hunter. 167 laps here on a short track. I mean, that's probably only about an hour's worth of racing, depending on the caution. So if you didn't qualify well, you're going to have to find your way up to the front relatively quickly.
Yeah, and looking at our history here, we do have an average of 4 yellows for 22 laps, which there's a lot of caution laps, so I'm not sure if that's also been adjusted or not on the short track side of things. But yeah, not too many leaders or lead changes. Typically you want to start within the first 3 rows, both season 4 and 5, Nichols and Knoll, when they got their win. They came from 6th in the field, and that was the furthest that anyone has come from the field at Richmond to win.
So I usually don't pull up the stats here in qualifying, but as we can see, the Hail Melon, it apparently works here at Richmond Raceway. I imagine admin will not permit this being done in the real world, but Connor Horn with a 19.7. I can promise you, you will not see that in the race. Yeah.
No, that absolutely will not happen during the race, but I guess it's good to get some giggles out of it during practice.
In the words of Bow Wow from 2004 R&B song that probably one other person knows, he's getting it out of his system here and definitely makes some good TV time. And it's 2 seconds left. I'm honestly floored that it still actually works, but we'll get that off the screen so that we don't put any ideas in anybody's heads here. Sebastian Marin rocking a different paint scheme here today, having a little bit more blue colors there as we have a cataclysmic wreck there in the back of the shot. Justin Anna Sogak, everybody having fun here at the end of warm-up, but also that will lead us into our starting grid. Of course, by Central Mobile Homes, looking for a new shed, triple crown trailer, or new floor plan, check out centralmobilehomesinc.com, serving customers in Florida for 30 years at a plethora of different locations. Again, centralmobilehomesinc.com. But let's head down trackside for that starting lineup here today from the Richmond Raceway. Seth Knoll's going to get this race started from P1 here, and he will have Travis Beckner to his outside. Jake Nichols will roll off in third with Connor Horn. I imagine he won't be doing that wall ride. He'll do it from the 4th spot regardless. James Scioli in 5th. Jacob Harberts out of Orlando in 6th. Then we head back to find Josh Cottle and Michael Currian, 2 chase drivers in that row, followed by Adam Cabot and Reese Schaefer, who's quietly in the 5th spot in the points.
We are going to need a lot to happen out of that one today for him. So we're looking through. Sebastian Marin is 11th. Rocky Boyd 12th. Over there in the 6th row. The 7th row, Justin Sogak in 13th. And Van Drugman in 14th. Top of the board, close towards Jake Nichols in the chase standings. Justin Levine 15th. David Brown 16th. And then 17th we'll find AJ Stravato with Cole Hooper next to him. And then over in the 19th spot, we have Tyler Nichols and Joseph Causey rounding out the top 20.
And we'll just round things through here. Zach Carr and the Moose, 21st and 22nd. Ryan Swan, Bryce Senesac, they will share that row 12. Drew Jua and Garrett Grant back there, 25th, 26th. And then we'll let the rest of them scroll by because we do have a few different penalties and drivers who need to head to the back. Logan Helton, he's going to have a hard time there in the back of the field, and 35 drivers strong here. Christian DeBoer has registered, but is not actually on the grid. Actually, there he goes. Last second, Larry. 36 cars here today. Of course, if you live under a rock and you don't know the Richmond Raceway, there it is. iRacing denoting it as 0.72 miles, a little bit less than the 0.75, but that's because the racing line here apparently is 0.72. And let's just quickly check out the weather here from virtual Henrico County. 79 on the track, Hunter, so grip should not be a concern outside of just the low grip surface that they're racing on.
Yeah, we're going to see a good bit of tire wear going on here as some guys have pulled off, and the reason behind that, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Noel had a EOL, same with Boyd, Brown, Jeremy Miller, and Seth Berger, but Berger is not here at the track. Patrick Moose, Dylan Knoll, and Liam Sheen have drive-throughs, but I don't think any of those guys are here. And we have a suspension for Watkins in the 22 car. He is not here. He is suspended. So lots to cover throughout the board, and did just that. And it's 167 laps here, number. And you did mention that it's 0.72. I think they shortened it because of the safer barrier, because they measure it from the outside wall, and safer barrier is now all the way around the outside wall, whereas I believe back in 08 when it was last scanned, there was no wall on the backstretch covered by safer barrier, so might have a little something to do with that, but nonetheless, it's going to be a challenging night for these drivers as Jake Nichols looks to assume control of the points lead as the pace car rolls into pit road. The penultimate round of Season 8 in the Area Cup Series about to kick off with Jake Nichols and Travis Beckner on the front row.
Fired off 36 cars strong here from Richmond off into turn number 1. Nichols getting the pole after Seth Knoll had to do the EOL, and he will try to clear, but a little bit of a wiggle off of 2. Side by side for the lead as they still try to sort things through in the back of the field. Beckner really holding on strong on that outside lane.
He'll lead the first lap, and he's looking to lead more, as he'll dive it to the outside of Jake Nichols, get a better run on that outside lane, at least through 3 and 4, trying to do the same through 1 and 2, and he's going to be almost clear from Jake Nichols. Jake's still going to give him a run for his money on the bottom, as third place is up for grabs in the back, but Travis Beckner steers clear from Jake Nichols and is full control of the lead as we got Patrick Moose serving his drive-through.
Of course, at the short tracks, those drive-through penalties just have a little bit of extra sting to them here, but back in the day, this track was denoted as the action track. They used to put sealer on this place, and it would go side by side for laps on laps. You go back to 1998, the Jeff and Jeff show. They were side by side for the run there here, and seemingly that outside lane coming into play here relatively early. We head a little bit further back. We find Adam Cabot in the 17. He's battling with Josh Caudle here. Good start for him here on the day. And then don't look too far. There is Sebastian Marin. I think he started outside of the top 10, quickly working his way through it.
Yeah, no one has come from further back than 6th to win a race here at Richmond. And, well, we have a yellow early on lap 5.
Oh, David Weishart has some damage to the front end of his Harry's Tap House Kitchen Chevy. Let's see, perhaps, why that is the case. See, off of turn number 4, Frankie Barroso in front of him. Oh, that's Garrett Grant. Got spun and just bad timing there. So now we have to deduce what happened to Mr. Grant. That's 70 to the inside. John Forbes. Well, that'll be one of those 50-50 calls for admin, or they might call it a racing deal. Tight call there, and just bad luck for David.
I'm going to say it's a racing deal, or they might give it to Graham, because it looked like he was in a tough spot, wanted to look low in the car in front of him, had a nice run off the corner, but the 70 car was there, and unfortunate that Weishart, with nowhere to go, couldn't get on the brakes fast enough, and that is the reason for our first yellow.
Now, if you go back a few weeks ago to when we were racing at the Bristol Motor Speedway, one of the big things there is Patrick Moose is going to be the prime beneficiary of this yellow because he'll get back on the lead lap. At Bristol, we had that situation, Hunter, where it was such a stressful situation for the drivers. When to pit, when to stay out. These short tracks, a lot of times with the caution sequence, it really almost makes it a gamble It'd be interesting if the cautions flow. Drivers may be in a similar situation tonight.
Yeah, really intriguing how the pit strategy is going to go. Again, a track that we haven't been to since Season 5 and has gone a reconfiguration of the scan on iRacing. So, looking throughout, it should be fun. I'm not expecting pit stops to happen anytime soon. Fuel won't be a concern. It's going to be all about tire wear. That's going to be more of the main concern. And will guys opt towards the end to do 2 tires or 4 whenever it matters? Because we might be in store for some yellows. It is a short track. Short tracks usually tend to have lots of yellows in it, but this one not so much. Again, only 4 yellows that we averaged per race back from season 1 and 2 and 4 and 5. Now we return in season 8, and Travis Beckner is going to restart on the outside lane, and Jake Nichols will be on the bottom. So it's like the first 8 laps or so never happened because the front row is still the same.
Now, of course, that season 1 race actually caution-free here. That was 180 laps, so a slightly shorter distance here this time through. Of course, Seth Knoll winning the last race here in an overtime finish. So we'll see again, a lot of time to be decided. Only about 55 minutes of racing, though, so it is a quick race. So got to get yourself sorted early in the box. But Travis Beckner will get this race started from the outside. He took the lead off the get-go. Jake Nichols struggling to match the pace there on the jump. That'll give James Scioli a good shot to maybe get P2 off the get-go.
Yeah, not having the advantage as a leader on the inside lane going to prove to be a challenge tonight, as Nichols will drop down to second. Scioli looking to attack from behind for third. Fourth, Josh Cottle, the 13th car rolling through, and then Connor Horn rounds out the top 5. Not Ross Chastanigan on the outside, but more so keeping it steady on the inside.
Absolutely, because obviously, that one would not fly with our live admin up in the tower here, but we are seeing that outside lane really come into play here. There's the 88 of Joseph Causey up there to the 3rd lane. And just as I say that, Sebastian Marin, who's up to 5th now going to the bottom of Cottle, who's still having a fabulous run, at least to start things through. Sebastian up to P4, and they're still sorting things out here side by side, outside of the top 10.
Still a good bit of side-by-side racing back here as we find Michael Curran and Joseph Causey. Well, now they're going to get solid in line for that 10th spot, but behind them, John Forbes Jr. and Bryce Senesac, they're going at it for the 14th position, and then we're on board with Reese Schaefer, who's behind all this, but Cole Hooper looking to continue his progress on the inside, trying to work his way through.
Going a little bit further back, we have singled out, so guys getting into their rhythm here, but as we go a little bit further up, here goes Sebastian Marin. I said the outside lane is working, and, well, pace in point right there. He made the pass on the outside of Scioli. Something we do watch out for a lot of times is when drivers do use that outside lane early in the race. Sometimes they pay the price for it at the back end of the run, although Sebastian Marin does seem to be immune to that. But we'll see what happens as here comes Cottle to the outside of Scioli as well.
Now looking to give a good run for that 13 car on the outside lane. The win that got him in from Talladega. And I mean, he's 10th in the standings, so at least he made it in. He was consistent enough to get in, and that win helped him out at the very end. But solid showing so far for Cottle. We're on board with Adam Cabot. Kind of gone nowhere. He's been in that 9th spot for a majority of this race, and Jacob Harberts will give him a run for his money on the outside lane heading into 1.
Absolutely, and just in front of him, Van Drugband, who's 18 points behind Jake Nichols, and kind of reminds you, Hunter, maybe of, I guess maybe not you because you're a little younger, but kind of like 03 Ryan Newman there. Oh, that's Cole Hooper getting loose on entry. Watch us up. We all survived, but you know, Ryan Newman winning 8 races in 03. I know Rusty Wallace won like 8 races in 2000, but not winning the championship. Right now, Van Drugband with his 5 wins, he's 18 points back due to some inconsistency and bad luck. So you hate to have a season like that go without a title, but he's going to need some luck to make it happen.
Yeah, all about being consistent in this new chase format that they've brought back and area has implemented for their season. So we're looking through the 17 of Cabot, trying to roll that outside lane now, and it's going to get real close whenever these cars are trying to come up on each other through the exit of 2 and the exit of 4. Cabot's now going to look low and causey.
Trying to figure out what lane is preferential right here. Let's go up to P2, and this time by Marion, he can put that car wherever they're not. As he, whoa!
Oh, wow, that was a big hit. That was Jacob Harbert's in the outside wall.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest impacts you'll see on a short track right here. Let's just watch our static turn 2 cam. You'll get the best perspective of it here. Now, what led to that? Oh, and there was some residuals there. Who was that? Maybe Brett Punkari, I believe. But let's go and actually find out what caused that seismic reaction. Well, that'll do it.
Also getting into the back of Harbors with an overcorrection, and was that Punkari? No, Punkari's back there. It was a orange car. Is that Jeremy Miller?
Well, yeah, it wasn't. It was a car that started with a 3. We'll obviously find out here with what orange car has damage, but some pit stops to be had, not really within the top. No, Travis Beckner. We talked about pit gambles here. Now we're only 20 laps in, and because of the new update to the pit stop timer, we do have a little bit of manual work to do, but he took a 10-second stop, which, as we now know, should be a 4-tire stop. So back to 22nd. That is quite the gamble move there.
Indeed. Thought process going through that is Sebastian Marin's already worked his way up to second. Figured he'd get good as the leader restarting the race, but
this is who it was. AJ Stravato. That's who we were trying to figure out.
Started with a 3, ended with a 3. But I think Travis Beckner's trying to manage with fresh tires as his strategy to overcome the fastness from Sebastian Marin, because, I mean, he's been lights out, or has been a contender every time he's out on the racetrack, and so far he has worked his way up from 11th all the way to the lead, so he's cut that 11th in half as far as the numerics of that. 1 take away from 1. He's P1, and it'll be restarting on the outside lane. Jake Nichols will once again be restarting on the bottom. Marin entered tonight only 22 points behind Jake Nichols in the standings, and with his win from Charlotte, that really helps him out. And he's going to need another win tonight to get closer to Jake Nichols before they go to Auto Club.
Absolutely. I didn't know where you were quite going with that whole 11 thing, but glad we figured that out. And, of course, if you are looking forward to Auto Club, make sure you stay tuned for that. We will be there next week in all 3 series here. And you can go to shop.areairacing.com, support the league, and wear your Auto Club area hat there when you watch that broadcast. Shop.areairacing.com as we head into the restart box. Marin on the outside. Again, the inside struggling to get going here, but teammates should play nice to each other, you would imagine, here for P2. And Josh Caudill and Van Drugman battling side by side behind that.
And on the restart there, Cole Hoover looked like he was blocking Seth Knoll on the initial start. Now he's lost a few positions from possibly some skirmishes through 1 and 2, but Marin going to take control. Nichols and Skyley going to do battle inside the podium. Meanwhile, they're almost 3 wide up in front of Cole Hooper there. That was Seth Knoll, Rocky Boyd, and I think Joseph Causey who's in front of them. It's Michael Curran in the 24 trying to work that 3rd lane in.
Of course, Seth Knoll, I have to point out, he obviously, I think, technically is the pole sitter, but he had the EOL, so he's already in the top 10 only after 27 laps, so he's already undid a lot of that damage here as Caudill and Van Drugman all kind of stuck behind the 7 of Skyoli. Van Drugman almost got a little bumper tag on to that 7. think the 7 is holding up Van Drugman, trying to get that outside lane rolling here. Now we'll go to the bottom of the track. Will the 7. Van Drugman should be able to roll the top now and clear Cottle, I believe. And now he'll set full sights on the 7 as Van Drugman just cut the nose off the 13.
And there comes Connor Horn on the outside lane, looking to get around Cottle for that 5th position, trying to do everything he can to get ahead of that 13 car. Connor, the highest of those not in the chase so far. Adam Cabot trying to follow suit with him. Then we mentioned Joseph Causey, Rocky Boyd, also non-chasers inside the top 10. Boyd looking to follow through and get around Cottle in the 13, and he will.
Cabot there in 6th spot, and then heading back a little bit further, we do have side-by-side, and I talked about shop.area.iracing.com, and you can look just like Michael Curhan with that cool hat there, that chase driver back there in 12th, all the way to the top of the track. Drew Jua running the no man's land line. It maybe works later in the race, but not now. And there is Travis Beckner. He started, I think, 22nd on the restart. He has gotten up to 14th. And he is in the hornet's nest. Got to work through it quickly, but he's got to be careful in the process.
Oh, he can't back down, and that's going to be a yellow. Well, unfortunate timing there, but, well, another yellow down, and we kind of saw a glimpse of it. We'll get a full picture of it.
I mean, that was just obviously on board with the rear of Zach Carr there, and Beckner, you can see he already has a little right front damage, so he's already, well, actually, it seemed like there was a little contact there, because that 27, you just saw it from the rear there. He really seemed to break loose on his own. Oh, he kind of,
in front of him.
Yeah, Levine. Get one more perspective of that, just to clear things up here. That's Justin Levine. Yeah, there was contact. That's why he got sideways, checked up, and then Beckner was just kind of stuck there. And John Forbes did get a little bit of contact there as well, but we're back to the front here, back to live pictures. Did have a few takers in the pits. Rocky Boyd. Who else do we have? Actually, that's really about it. No, oh, here's another one. John Forbes, Jeremy Miller, 83 David Brown. So the majority of them still remaining on that original set of tires.
Yeah, looking to continue monitoring pit stops as the night goes on, as a lot of drivers have yet to do so, but Travis Beckner worked his way up towards the 14th spot, up about 8 spots into pit stop for him. Restart in 22nd, and it's made up pretty good work, but yeah, unfortunate timing there for an incident to occur right in front of Beckner, so did have to navigate through that. I believe that's Max Service getting the free pass.
Indeed the case there, as Sebastian, he wasn't really pulling away, so I do want to, give point there that he's not driving off into the proverbial moonset here. So even though he got through the field, I definitely think this race is attainable for the competition, although not necessarily the case at some tracks. 22 points max, so Sebastian does need a pretty sizable point stay today. Of course, hard to do that when Jake Nichols is there in that spot here, and right here, that turn 4 fence, I think a lot of us old-timers remember that race where a guy climbed that turn 4 fence in the middle of a live race here at Richmond. That was certainly a spectacle, but we are on, there we go, now on 1 to green, and again, leaders choosing the outside lane as the trend tonight.
Yeah, the outside lane is proving very crucial to being the leader. You get that initial launch, and it's just too much to overcome if you're on the inside lane, and then the driver behind you on the outside lane, they really can't try to match it. Here's the 33 still.
Look at that right front. Well, that is what you call camber.
It's doable, barely.
We'll head through 3 and 4 once more, back into the restart box. Sebastian Merritt on the outside. Jake Nichols have been struggling on the inside, and that trend will continue once further. Sebastian with about a 2-car length jump, but he will be able to clear Nichols, driving in deep, clears Van Drugman. Scioli and Van Drugman going for third.
Yeah, Juju. He hits the 88 back there. I was about to say, he's been trying to get that upper lane working. And Joseph Causey, I don't think he's taking too much to that, as they're going to be tight 3 wide on the exit of 4. Going to be tight 3 wide going into turn 1 just about. The yellow's back out for what we don't know, and it's actually
Rocky Boyd.
All right, well, he just pitted too, so we'll have to figure out how that occurred.
Looks as though, at my quick glance here, that it may have just been a solo spin here for Mr. Boyd. Let's clarify that to the outside of Reese Schaefer, and he was loose, but the Moose kind of did him in there. I don't think Patrick really had much time to evade that. See, Rocky was diving into the outside here, and you'll see him just get loose. He's already sideways. Just not a lot of time to react there for Patrick.
Yeah, he's not expecting it, but caution's already piling up. I think that's the 4th one so far.
Well, we haven't played the caution game in a while. I suppose at the rate we're going, there may be one to play here today. 40 laps in, but yeah, I think 4 is probably pretty accurate as to where things will be standing. And we're still waiting on pit stops for the top drivers. Now, the highest driver who has pitted thus far in the event is actually Drew Jua. He is up to 8th now, did pit 18 laps ago, same sequence as Travis Beckner. Of course, Travis lost a spot or two during that little faux pas with Zach Carr. So got to keep eyes on that 96 as Max Service maybe getting another wave around of sorts. 1 lap down. Now, could have swore we just saw him get a lap back, but I guess he's getting another one back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, he might have been multiple laps down, but looking on through. At the pass, I want to say, Season 4, we had 9 yellows. Season 5, we had 8 yellows, so maybe that is a little cause for concern if you are trying to get some strategy calls going your way and you keep getting yellows, then you don't have enough time to have the calls go in your favor. This pit road is still closed.
Of course, you go back to the Bristol race, and was it in the Cup race? I don't remember, but we had so few cautions in the Bristol race that drivers didn't pit on a very early caution, and then the race went green, and then it just basically, I would say that single race at Bristol almost altered the entirety of the chase because so many drivers were just called out on that strategy call. You just never know when will be the run to the end. I mean, at any point, we could go 120 laps to the end, as AJ Stravado still trying to make something happen here. And of course, here in the Cup Series, only 2 races to decide it. Head to rickshotsauce.com. All those hot sauces from South Florida. Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple. And we'll find out who that Rookie of the Year is. Only 2 races to go here, and they will be getting a little prize from Rick's Hot Sauce. rickshotsauce.com. Aaron on the inside this time, changing things up here, keeping Jake on his toes as we're back to green, and that's Seth Knoll going 3 wide into 1.
Yeah, working his way through all the way up on that outside lane, but going a lane further is Drew Jua again, the 96 car, as he's trying to work his way closer towards that top 5, which is being contested now by Cabot and Scioli, and loose as a goose is the one of Seth Knoll. He's going to lose a few positions as he's 3 wide now with Cottle and Jua outside of him.
And I'll tell you, that 96 really working well in that 3rd lane. Of course, he's on the fresh tires, and Beckner as well on that same strat. They are all the way up there, putting rubber in that Harry Gant line all the way up there, and it seems to be working, so that may be something viable to throw in the bank later. Of course, the dynamic track coming into play, the different grips here on the old Richmond pavement. Here they go to the outside of Josh Cottle. And again, all the way up, getting clean air, trying to find some clean racing room.
Yeah, looking to do just that as starting to single out a little more. Beckner starting to get some more laps under his belt with the tires that he has, and he's worked himself back inside the top 10. Looking out the bumper of Connor Horn, who has kind of stayed 6th or 7th the entire race in that 67 car in a 167 lap race, as it's just holding his own at the time being. But Cabot still trying to look on the outside lane for the 4th spot from James Scioli, as Connor Horn still keeping Drew Jewett behind him.
Indeed the case, as Beckner again trying to figure out what to do, because again that is the fresh tire battle, trying to get the best position possible, and some contact there drew up to the 67 of Connor Horn. Of course, 67 winning in the real world a day ago, and I know Corey Heim said he's not going to run 67 next year. He said it's a goofy number, but Connor Horn likes goofy numbers, and the 67 he doesn't like getting hit by Travis Beckner. What a save by Connor Horn.
Yeah, that was something. Don't think he thinks that's goofy. I think he thinks that's a little obnoxious.
Now, the Ricky Rudd Save of the Race Award actually was coined here at the Richmond Raceway back in 2001. And I think preliminarily speaking, Connor Horn.
How did you save that car? Well, I'm just so daggone good.
It's been a while since we've given a Ricky Rudd Save of the Race Award. Maybe a little early, but I think I'm going to give it to that 6-7. As we will go back a little further up, Drew Jewett has cleared most of the traffic by Scioli. Now with Adam Cabot, will be interesting now that Drew Jewett is in a little bit cleaner track. What will be the lap times between him and that 66, who's up by 3/4 of a second?
To keep our eye on that as the run will continue, although Connor Horn will have some work cut out for him. And I think if we get another yellow to come out relatively soon, wouldn't shock me if we see him come down pit road, as there is the 30 of Jeremy Miller back in action, back inside the top 10, looking to get around Cottle, and he's really using that high groove to his advantage, trying to get around Cottle, and got a good run off the corner and looking low now on Scully for 7th.
You just love to see these multi-groove tracks. Now, some fans don't love multi-groove racing at short tracks because they want the contact, but I like when these drivers are able to pass. I mean, YouTube chat, did you think North Wilkesboro was a good race in the real world? It's very akin to this multi-groove short track racing. It's very split here in the racing community. But anyways, Travis Beckner, he is right to the rear deck lid of Drew Jewett, and that's the fresh tire battle. All the while, Jake Nichols running about actually, no, last time by, he was a skosh faster than Sebastian Marin, but let's see if that trend continues. See different lines.
On board with, different lines from the leader, and Jake Nichols running in second. Marin using that outside groove. Nichols trying to get that inside lane to go. But you just see the run that Marin will get on the outside lane. Too much to overcome at the time being, as now Nichols is going to try to higher groove through 1 and 2.
Now, of course, a little bit of it is clean air, even though mid-corner speeds are only about 90 miles an hour here. If you're moving, as Mark Martin said, if your car is moving, there's dirty air, just at differing levels of effectiveness. So that's why you'll see different lanes, and you can already see the rubber going down there. And when there's rubber, there's heat, there's slickness, there's a greasy feeling. So when that rubber goes down, that's when you start seeing guys drive in other lanes as well. That's what we love to see here on the simulator. But the drivers in the mid-pack, they haven't sorted things through, and they also haven't sorted things through. Jeremy Miller and Travis Beckner, those are two fun ones to watch. Looks like Jeremy Miller getting the best, and Jeremy Miller also won. Actually, no, Jeremy Miller has fresher tires than Beckner or Drewa, and naturally better tires than anybody in front of him. So watch that 30 on his trek to the front.
I was going to say, the way he was moving, it seemed like he had fresher tires than Travis Beckner possibly, but Either way, he is phenomenal in his progress so far. Look, we're going to get that top 5 spot. Juju in the 96, trying to keep the 30 car behind him.
You can see only 25 laps in, 60 laps in for the rest of the drivers. So that would mean 120 laps to the end for Jeremy Miller. I mean, I don't even know what the fuel run is here. Maybe 110 laps, vaguely. Obviously, the leaders have no chance to make it. I mean, is there a fighting chance that if this magically goes green for 100 laps, that Jeremy Miller can make it to the end? I mean, make our fictitious statements here. But we see green flag stops here at Richmond in the real world quite frequently. Be interesting to see what happens here today as we are approaching halfway here in the Area Cup Series, brought to you by the Studio Temporary. And again, end of summertime, if you are looking to get your outside seating area, your pool, or your dynamic lounging area up to par to entertain here on the back end of the summer, head to bluetippools.com. Their quality technicians and cutting-edge tech will get your outside look and fly. Head to bluetippools.com. There's Ryan Swan in the 23rd position.
Yeah, right close to Connor Horn there in the 22nd spot. Still looking to make his way back towards the top 10 where he was running.
Logan Helton, someone who we usually see a little bit closer to the front of the field. Not really making much of a charge. I mean, he's up 11 spots on the day, but usually, we'd expect him to be a little bit higher up on the grid, so we'll see if maybe he can dial it in. Of course, he is 8th in the points. Did miss a race in the... no, he didn't miss a race in the chase. He's been here for all 15. He just hasn't had luck. But today, we'll see what happens. But going up to P2, looks like Van Drugman finding some late run pace here. He's closed in on Jake Nichols, and I could have swore I just saw Sebastian Marin fence ripping in 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's really trying to get the outside lane going to stretch out his lead even more. And looking at the gap, it's just continuing to build. He's picked up a few tenths just from 3 and 4 alone, as Drugman and Nichols are running through 1 and 2 on the bottom. Marin's all the way up. Juju has taken note of it, so is Jeremy Miller, as they're trying to continue to work their way towards the front.
And then you see him on the bottom in 3 and 4. There's no real consistency. He's changing things up. Maybe he's trying to keep them on their toes, or maybe he still hasn't found out where he wants to be. As Van Drugman going to the bottom of the racetrack, you can see in that rubbered up lane, while Jake Nichols enjoys that cleaner pavement, which likely has a little bit more grip. But Van Drugman seeming to have the pace here. They'll still go side by side, nearly making contact, meeting in the middle off the corner.
Continuing to do battle through 1 and 2. The 56 on the inside. Jake Nichols on the outside lane. Oh, Drugman had to back out of it there, and Nichols is going to be clear. 2.2 seconds behind the leader, Sebastian Marin, as the battle won't quit just yet from Van Drugman. Still trying to get inside of that 73 car, but you see in the back there, Cabot and Drew Jua. They're about to do battle for the 4th spot, as is Miller and Beckner. Not really about to do battle, but they're close enough to where they can do battle, as Nichols is continuing to battle with Van Drugman. Just 2-car battles throughout the field.
Now this is what Richmond has become, and here goes Van Drugman. This is the final move right here. He got to the outside lane, and actually now he loses the spot, but let's see if he can get the momentum. Will Nichols give him the lane on exit? He will. So that'll be the dagger for Jake Nichols. He'll have to succumb to that 3rd spot, as Van Drugman should eventually be able to clear with that momentum off the top, and there is that pass. Let's see if he can dig into that gap at all. But this is, Hunter, what Richmond has become. This has become a track, again, very, very slick pavement, old. You will spread out, run multi-groove, and this is where we get the propensity to see things spread out and go green.
Yeah, after the first few yellows or so, this race has gone pretty smoothly. Some skirmishes here and there in between, but nonetheless, phenomenal racing product that we have so far. Beckner on the inside, Jeremy Miller on the outside. Meanwhile, in front of them, Cabot and Drew Jua doing battle inside the top 5. This cabin
Oh, whoa,
is the highest of
whoa.
those. Whoa, hello, Travis Beckner, running up Jeremy Miller on the racetrack, and the 28 car will slot into P6.
I knew that was coming.
Not before Miller gives him a bump.
Yeah, that
And Beckner
was...
go try and drive away from it.
These next gens are hard to move there, and I don't know if he's done yet. No, he ain't done. Up the track again. I mean, he didn't wreck him. That's how you... I mean, short tracks, you move me, I move you. If you don't wreck each other, I mean, is it essentially a fair game? I mean, we'll see what they say in the booth, but Jeremy Miller up to 6th.
I'd say it's fair for now, but Beckner looking to get back at the 30, but the 30 is driving away. Seth Knoll would probably recommend him watching from afar just because of what the 30 and the 28 have done and what they could be capable of, and could implicate his chase chances. So we have a slow car here in the 45 of Patrick Moose, where he looked really slow. Might have had a moment off 4.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, with Cole Hooper, some contact, and good save there. Did I give the Ricky Rudd Save the Race award a little too early? I don't know, but that was a good save nonetheless for him. Do have one taker into the pits, and that is Cole Hooper. Not sure if it's a direct correlation after that incident. You can see AJ Stravato. I think he gave up driving that crab walk machine, but up front here, I mean, some of the most erratic lines I've seen, but it is really interesting to see here at Richmond. Sebastian Marin up by a straightaway. And of course, if you like what you see, make sure you stay tuned Tuesday and Thursday. We will be back here with the penultimate race in the Truck Series and the Florida State Builders Pro Series. However, we will not be here at Richmond. Both of those series down there at North Wilkesboro, keeping the short track vibe alive.
Yeah, that's going to be even more of a challenge at North Wilkesboro, shorter racetrack, and the new configuration for that place has had some battling going on. Seth Knoll has actually driven past Jeremy Miller and Travis Beckner. Not sure if Beckner got back to Miller or not, or if the one just flat out drove past the two, but either way, he is one step closer to reaching that top 5 as Miller holds on to 7th.
And there is Beckner just behind. Now, Beckner is on, again, 12-lap older tires than what Jeremy Miller has. And again, we are still waiting on pit stops from a good portion of the top 10. We'll just refresh the stints on our live ticker. And you can see everybody with an 80, naturally, they have not pit in the race. They will still be due. I don't think anybody can make it to the end. Perhaps we may find something from someone can let us know, but I don't think anybody could make it to the end on even a stretch call. So we'll see how this all works out as Beckner has found some late run pace, and this might get spicy, or maybe they've calmed down.
I'm going to say it has not calmed down. Beckner is looking low, and James Skiley now is the one to watch from behind as the 30 and the 28 will do battle once more.
Let's see, I mean, so far, giving each other cordial amounts of space. Again, as you said, the 7 just kind of waiting to figure out who is going to persevere here, but I think they've calmed down because now they're racing pretty cordially here. Drew Jua has gotten up to 2nd, by the way. Again, he is on fresher tires, as you can see there, 20 some odd lap fresher tires than the leaders. Scioli there just figuring things out, but it looks like the 28 and the 30 have taken a deep breath, and now they're just having some good racing.
Looking to continue that through 1 and 2 as the 28 is low. The 30 of Miller will continue to run the outside lane. It's been a phenomenal battle between these two, and it has not gone over the edge yet. Not yet, but Beckner looking to complete the pass here relatively soon as Miller is still fighting on that outside lane.
I think it could just take a little bit of a send, but this is a send by the 28. 30 goes in deep, washes up the track. I think this should be the final dagger, and it is. Beckner with a nice clean pass there of the 30, and I think they will just carry on their own ways. But Josh Caudle here getting passed by Zach Carr, recovering after that spin earlier in the race off the back bumper of Beckner to no fault of Beckner's own. David Weishart being shown a black flag on his pit stop. David Weishart, always someone to draw first blood and pit early, and paying the price for it here, speeding.
Well, that is not ideal.
Not at all. I think that's... If you speed, let's see, did he speed in on entry or exit? He sped on exit, which means he's going to have to come back in for about a 40-second penalty. So David Weishart will be a plethora of laps down. But Sebastian Marin up by 2.7 seconds here as this race has really gotten into its solid groove. And speaking of grooves and tracks that have grooves, Hendry County Motorsports Park, they won't be using their grooves until the end of August, but you can head to henryracing.com to get further details on everything that goes on there at Hendry County with their schedule for the end of summer and the fall. They'll be back live on August 29th. Head to henryracing.com to get all of your tickets and information. Looks like Miller is starting to lose it a little bit here. Falling back, and I'll tell you, the gap up front, Hunter, I mean, it was 2.7, now it's 2.1 as Marin in traffic. He's not, so perhaps the fresher tires of Jua having a small effect here, and Marin does have some sizable lap traffic right in his rear, well, right in his front windshield.
Yeah, looking to get through the lap traffic pretty quick. Don't want to get hung up on it too much, but Bryce Senesac will be the one that he goes after next, or will it be Ben Pierce? Is that in the 65? Yep. Yes.
There's a live battle for position, and that would be the free pass spot. Cole Hooper holding on to it right now, but here is Marin, and this is an opportunity for Jua to eat into that gap just a little bit. Perhaps if these drivers hold them up, Pierce into the wall down the straightaway, that won't hold up Marin whatsoever. And then here comes Marin on through, and I will say it looks like Seth Knoll has closed in to Van Drugman here for third, and this is a just long run pace situation. They're both on equal tires. Still both have yet to pit.
Yeah, a lot has changed throughout the top five now. Drew Jua up to second. That outside lane is just continuing to work for him. Nichols has fallen down to fifth, but in between that, Van Drugman's still in third. Seth Dolan, talked about him. He's moving up to fourth. Pretty good showing from him so far. It looks like Scioli's gone around Jeremy Miller. The pace starting to slip a little bit from the 30 of Miller as he's trying to hold on to that top 10 spot, but Josh Caudle is close quarters with him. Justin Levine in the 19 coming through as well.
And that's part of, I think, running that super high lane is, as we talk about, it's clean track up there, so the asphalt is grittier, which means it's going to take more of that rubber off the tires. So it is sometimes a short run reward for a long-term loss, but perhaps next run, now that there's more rubber up there, it may be a little bit better in the long haul. But yeah, Justin Levine in 11th, going a little bit further up. Looks like Seth Knoll is using that high lane, gets the run, now dives to the inside here of Van Drugman. That is for the third spot, and Van Drugman doesn't look like he put up any of a fight here. So Seth Knoll, again, the pole sitter who had the EOL, driven back to the podium.
Yeah, phenomenal drive so far from the one. 4 seconds behind the leader, Sebastian Marin, as we are close on the 100-lap mark of this one. Travis Speckner, meanwhile, looking to get around Adam Cabot into 17. This is for the 7th spot on the racetrack as Zach Carr has gone around Jake Nichols there in the 27. He's fallen down to the 6th position now.
Still side by side. Also worth noting, Drew Jua has cut the lead to 1.5 seconds. In the lap times last time through, they were about even, but I think the traffic and maybe just the older tires by Marin, there's just a little bit more inconsistency in his pace. And of course, the fresher tires, they have to pit any time. I mean, all of these drivers are going to have to pit. So it's just going to be a matter of who's going to draw first blood. Of course, it was Weishart, but he kind of botched that. As there goes the 55 of Christian de Boer. He started. Oh, there's a big contact there. Drew Jua just ate some fence off of 2.
Yeah, continuing to run fast. Close the gap down to 1.7 seconds between himself and Sebastian Barron, as I think the lap traffic now starting to play a little bit of a factor into that, as Barron still has yet to pit. Will he even pit? Don't even know.
If he doesn't pit, he's got one of those 1960s fuel lines. I cannot remember the driver, but there was a driver, as Douglas Newbigg eating some wall. There was a driver back in the old moonshine days of NASCAR where they said you had to have a fuel cell, as Jeremy Miller is going to come to the pits. They said you had to have a fuel cell that was X amount of gallons, but they didn't tell you how long the fuel line could be. So he had a fuel line so long that it basically gave him a few extra gallons of gas. Of course, that was outlawed. So if he can make 167 laps at Richmond, that is a magical fare, but I think the pit stop should be right around the corner, and in terms of fall off, we are down about 1.5 seconds. Is that right? Yeah, about 1.5 seconds. So a lot of time could be gained on the undercut or the overcut.
Yeah, still running pretty good lap times, but the 96 starting to match his times or go even a little bit faster, so take that into consideration, as still 2 seconds, maybe less than that, between himself and the yellow's
out. Jeremy Miller.
Jeremy Miller right at the pit entrance. Not sure if that played a part of that or not, but Max Service there as well, and crossing the lap 100 mark just a few laps ago, and we're back under yellow. It was.
Now, I'm curious.
Oh, wow.
I'm curious. I wonder if he is showing a black flag, so he must have sped in the pits, or obviously did something wrong. He must have sped, so he was instantly coming back for his penalty stop, and he kind of got sideways on the apron there, and then Service really just, well, scroll back a couple seconds. He really didn't know. I mean, he wouldn't have been able to turn right at that point. So he was just really kind of at a terrible situation. But this will kill the green flag strategy. Luckily, these drivers didn't pit. Most of them didn't, because otherwise they'd be multiple laps down. But here comes everybody for their stop. Marin already exiting. Again, these pit stops now only 10 seconds, so they will not be in there for very long.
Beckner's going to move up a spot. Seth Noel going to lose a lot of spots.
Yeah, he's back. He was in the box for 19 seconds, so I'm not sure if there was damage that he chose to get fixed or what caused him to stay there for so long. But Brent Konkari, he stayed out the first time around. But I guess the person this really works out for is Drew Jua, because obviously he didn't start in this position. Where did he start, to refresh our memories here? He started back in 25th, obviously used that tire strat to drive up to second, and now he's reset. Now he's dead even with everybody else. So if he has the pace to contend, you know, he has every ability to make something happen now. Smokey Eunuch, thank you, Jason Beckner at our YouTube chat. That's who did that fuel line strategy.
All right, well, this definitely shakes things up. Less than 60 to go. We'll have a restart, and I think those cars in front are going to get the wave around.
Now we got a few of them. De Boer, David Brown, and Cole Hooper, Rocky Boyd. So this will leave 27 drivers on the lead lap. Only drivers off the lead lap are going to be Bryce Senesac, Joseph Causey. They both pitted just a few laps beforehand. Then we have Max Service 3 laps down, and probably much further than that with all that damage that he acquired. But Sebastian Marin obviously has been the fastest driver all race. Once he got up to the front, he hasn't really been able to be contested with. But now we have 60 laps to decide the end of the penultimate race on the season. Back on the loud pedal, Drew Jua struggling on the top. That'll give Van Drugman sole possession of second.
Yeah, Van Drugman looking to get around and will clear for third. Travis Beckner trying to get around Drew Jua now in the inside lane, but Sebastian Marin taking control of the lead once more, trying to drive away from it all.
And Beckner, huge slide there off the exit. And that will cost Beckner at least 10 spots, blending down to around 10th to 12th right now.
Seth Noel sideways as well, as that kind of created a little bit of a checkup formation because we got a little bit of separation now between the field.
That could lead into another run here, but again, 60 laps is only about 20 minutes of racing here, so the intensity is certainly going to pick up here. Van Drugman up to second, and last time by, still a tenth slower than Sebastian. There goes Josh Caudle all the way to the top of the track, John Forbes, and Jake Nichols down to fifth. Now, I would take a little bit of mental math. Let's bring up the point standings for you right here. Obviously, Van Drugman, he would gain a few spots right now, a few points. Sebastian Marin, he would gain a decent amount of points if the race ended right now. And again, we may have ourselves probably a 3-horse race for the championship, but a lot to still decide here tonight.
Yeah, working on through. Josh Caudle on that outside lane, trying to stay inside the top 10, get around as John Forbes Jr. blinks in and out. That's a really bad spot to do it through the corner. But in the meantime, they're going to continue to do battle. Drugman still 8 car lengths behind Sebastian Marin, starting to check out once more.
And Marin up by a second, so he has absolutely, I mean, this is the fastest by far that he has driven up through the field and just put it down here this evening. But will this sustain? I mean, I find it hard to go back and remember a moment where Sebastian Marin fell off on the long run. It just doesn't happen. He has that old tire chemical bath here. His tires just never fall off. Obviously joking, of course. There's Noel going all the way to the top of the track. He is now falling nearly out of the top 10.
Yeah, he might still be finding loose conditions on his race car because he had that moment on the initial restart coming out of turn 4 with Travis Beckner. It wasn't as severe as Travis Beckner, but seems like that might have played into a little bit of what is happening now to that one car, as up in front of them, the 17, the 73, going to do battle for the top 5 position, and Nichols will hold on to that for now. They'll try to send it in deeper on the outside lane and try to generate a run to get close enough to James Scioli.
Of course, teammates battle in there, 4th and 5th. Drew Jua doing a decent job here hanging on through, but let's pull up the lap times. Actually, no, let's pull up the lap times, not the stints, because everyone's on the same pace here. And you can see a 21.7, 21.8, nobody else in the 7s. Of course, Clean Air does do wonders, but a tenth of a lap faster than anybody else. That 66 gonna put up a fight. But I know it's kind of preliminary talk, Hunter, but everyone has been saying that Auto Club is going to be a little bit of a wild card. That track is a lot of a draft race. So as we said, you got to get everything you can here, because this race is a lot more in your control than next week probably will be.
Yeah, next week next week's going to be a blast. Pour one out for Auto Club as always, but Sebastian Marin looking to get himself into a better position for the chase heading into that track, as they're still doing battle here right around the top 10 spot. John Forbes Jr. on the outside, Zach Carr on the inside lane. As for 9th, Seth Noel trying to hold on to that top 10 spot. Connor Horn, meanwhile, he's driven all the way back up to 7th after his skirmish with Travis Beckner. As Beckner finds himself in 12th with Caudle in 11th.
At that 27, again, he is recovering. We've had a lot of drivers have to do a back-to-front situation here today. Of course, Connor Horn with his save of the race award earlier. Seth Noel had a EOL to the back. Zach Carr got spun out. Beckner has had he just had that massive slide. So A lot of these drivers have had to go back to front, even go up to the front. Of course, Drew Jua, he didn't start up here. He had to drive up to the front with that strategy, and now is doing a good job to hang on to that podium spot right now, and we'll see if it does sustain. But absolutely 2 seconds, and we've only been racing for 17 laps. That's just some crazy stuff. It's almost the whole back straightaway.
I mean, he's just on another level, and this was exactly the run that he needed before Auto Club to get closer to that championship lead that Jake Nichols has built over the past few races. And I mean, Mayer winning last week helped, but him winning this week as well would really help him get close enough to battling with Jake Nichols. I mean, Van Drungman, he's doing what he needs to do as well. He's running in second, but it's looking like it might be a 3-horse race. And then we got to also remember that James Scully's in the top 5 as well. So it could be a 4-horse race ending in the Auto Club, depending on how the points shake out for the 7. Obviously, as they run, Marin's going to close that gap. Drugman's going to close that gap. I'm not sure if the gap will close enough for the 7 of Scully, but we still have over 40 laps of racing left from Richmond, and Sebastian Marin has just been lights out from the moment that he's been here. Again, looking to become the first driver to win from outside of the first 3 rows. He started all the way back in 11th, so it would be an accomplishable feat for that 66 car.
Absolutely. We're going to do something a little bit risky here on PTR TV. We are going to do some temporarily loud engines. Well, usually when we go to a temporarily loud engines... Oh, that's my joke to Brad. I didn't mean to press that button. Usually when we go to temporarily... Brad always has a tendency to say, keep on grooving, so I pulled up a clip from the Brady Bunch to throw it in his face, but then magically he never says it anymore. But anyways, usually when we go to temporarily loud engines, it causes a caution flag, and I'm not saying that that was my goal, but... I don't know about you, but I like my chicken to have flavor, and right now, we have spread out. We're not going to throw a debris caution, though. We are not NASCAR in the mid-2000s, but we were just saying on that break, Hunter, we're, what, 25 laps into this run? 27 to be specific. And knowing how good Van Drugman is, how in the name of Davy Jones Locker is this guy up 3.5 seconds in 25 laps?
Simply just built different from everyone else in the field. I mean, he's just got a better groove for this track, it seems like, and really short tracks as a whole, at least just from this race alone. He's had a phenomenal season as we look at it from where he's at in the chase right now. He's got 2 wins to his name, 8 top 5s and 8 top 10s. The first of those wins came real early in the season, I want to say back at Michigan. on the 2-mile oval, and then really hasn't had close to good runs. I mean, he's had a lot of top fives, but not race-winning stuff. So we're looking throughout, and then goes to Charlotte. Wins there, and if he wins at Richmond, would really put him, again, in a good spot to become a champion at the Cup level. Jake Nichols, though, trying to hold on to that top 5 spot, maybe go up a position on James Scioli, but Van Druckmann, Drew Jua in front of them, looking to have solid showing. The top 5 all chase contenders. Meanwhile, that battle for 6th about to heat up between 2 non-chase drivers. Adam Cabot and Connor Horn is actually behind them. John Forbes is going to look below Connor Horn to try and get around him for the 7th spot.
Yeah, it's obviously, if you watched the broadcast earlier, you saw what Connor Horn did in practice. I think that's probably the only way anyone's going to win this race is by doing that Hail Melon move, and even that, I don't know if it'll gain 3.5 seconds. So, but 30 laps to go, only about 12 minutes according to our estimator here. But John Forbes to the inside here, and that move will fall on back. Now he goes back to the inside. Looks like those drivers kind of giving up on that super high lane here at Richmond, going back to the bottom of the racetrack. And Seth Knoll in 9th. And he's trying to go back here and see if there's any surprises in the back of the field. It's not really. I mean, Reese Schaefer, talked about him as a quiet top 5 in the point standings. Really hasn't brought much to the table here today. I think he started in the mid-teens and started 10th, but yeah, running in the mid-teens, so he'll likely fall out of that 5th spot in the points after this one.
On the wall back there, Patrick Moose was racing with Douglas Dubigging, and it looked like he got into the outside wall coming out of 4, and that 71 seems to be a little bit off the pace after that, but for the time being, Connor Horn and Adam Cabot, now they're going to do battle for the 6th position. The 67 looking low through 1 and 2. Cabot trying to roll through on the outside lane. Horn will slide up. Here comes Cabot with a run off the corner as he'll stay in front for the time being.
Connor with the dive on in there, and he will clear, but that should set up for a crossover. Yep, there it is indeed the case. Cabot down to the inside, and we'll turn around, be fair play here. Will Cabot try to send it on in? They'll wash up the track there. That'll compromise Horn's exit a little bit, but actually he got a good enough run that he will sustain, and now John Forbes going to try to fill in the gap.
Looking to get there, can't get there, and he'll settle back in the line. The 70 will, and the John Forbes Jr. machine in the 8th spot. Rolling that upper lane, though, trying to get a run going, and going to do just that to stay in front of Seth Knoll in the 1. Now he's going to set it through 3 and 4, try to get himself a better run. Might have been a little too much, might have scraped the wall just a bit there. Clear turn 3, and he'll have to regroup and refocus going into 1.
John Forbes, of course, 9th in the points, already mathematically eliminated, but he did miss a race, of course, this season. I don't remember exactly when it is, but he does have one less start than everybody else. And, of course, with Sebastian Marin, too, I mean, just kind of circling back to him, the reason he is so much farther back in the points wasn't necessarily because of bad luck or anything of the sort. He is one race behind in terms of he's only run 14 of the 15 races, and naturally that hurt his chase seating. I don't remember exactly where he started in the chase, but I know it was not on the top third of it. It was more like 8th-ish, I think. So he's having to literally claw himself out of this, and he's doing everything in his possibility to give himself the best chance to win this thing at Auto Club next week.
He entered 9th into the chase grid at Chicagoland to kick off the chase, and he's slowly but surely worked his way up closer towards the top 3. He might even be 2nd, I want to say, in points after this one's all said and done. He's led the most laps. He's led a lap. He did not get the pole, which pole winning is a bonus point for that, but 125 laps. Just phenomenal work from Sebastian this race as wrong driver on the mind. Van Druckmann, Drew Jua. They're close to doing battle as Marin's trying to work his way through lappers, but the 96 has been rolling that outside lane for a good portion of tonight's event, and he's trying to give it to Van Druckmann in the 56, try to get around him, really sending it there through 3 and 4.
See if the run comes on exit here. It will not. But if I go back in my racing history book here, I want to say it was in 2001, and I want to say it was the spring race, the Pontiac Excitement 400. Rusty Wallace led more than, I think, 350 laps of the 400 laps there in that Winston Cup race. Did not win it. I feel like Richmond is a racetrack that is known for leading a ton of laps and then something just happening at the end. So, of course, you can never necessarily engrave the trophy yet, but I would find it really a ridiculous circumstance for Sebastian not to win the race, up 3.5 seconds now. Now, again, as you said, second place is under fire. Scioli back 5 seconds there. Teammate Jake Nichols back there. Of course, Connor Horn had his Ricky Rudd save of the race, trying to hang on to sixth. Cabot to his inside.
I can do you one better. Denny Hamlin led 381 laps at Richmond in 2008 and did not win that race. That is the infamous race which that yellow happened, and then that led to the Dale Jr. Kyle Busch skirmish through turn 3 that definitely upset a lot of people, including myself as a wee lad.
He turned him! Famous TWism.
There's an infamous moment there, but yeah, I don't think we'll see that. Seems like this race is pretty content on running green to the finish. Now, could be wrong in that. There's always a possibility for a yellow to come out, but I just don't see it.
Of course, this race did have its moments. I guess we won't play the game. I don't think we had enough cautions to warrant playing the caution guessing game. We've had 5 cautions for 19 laps, and we did have our fair share of moments. We go back to that, I guess probably the highlight clip of this race for our friend Ben Whitsett, who does the race recap clips, was that little back and forth skirmish with Jeremy Miller and Travis Beckner earlier, where they were kind of trading blows, but they didn't wreck each other. That was just some hard-nosed short track racing. This driver right here, Zach Carr, he was around earlier in the race, but right now in the 9th spot. John Forbes down there to 10th. Josh Cottle, he was in the top 6 to 8 for a good portion of this race. Started 7th, currently running just outside of the top 10 in 11th.
Still working through the final laps here at Richmond. Coming up on 12 to go for Sebastian Merens, still stretching out that lead. Van Drugman now stretching out second from Juju, are running in the 3rd spot, but behind them, 4th and 5th, close to being up for grabs. Cole Hooper, the lap car, going to play a little bit of a factor as Scioli's going to try to work his way around him. And then Jake Nichols as well. Connor Horn, Adam Cabot, their battle has not died yet. The 67 and the 17 are, well, they were door to door. Cabot got loose coming out of 2. But Connor Horn holding on to P6 for the moment.
The racing has really tightened up here. Late race. Sebastian obviously not in any battles, but a lot of racing here. The Moose and Reese Schaefer, 15th and 16th. The leader is in some traffic, or soon to be. David Brown about to go a lap down. And not too far ahead of that, you have Pancari and Kurhan. I don't think that'll have too much of an effect on the outcome of the race, but a lot of drivers have kind of yo-yoed together here towards the last 10 laps here of the 167 on the table here today. The Truck Series, as we talked about, tomorrow night at North Wilkesboro. That'll be a 160-lap affair. And then again Thursday for the Florida State Builders Pro Series, we'll be doing 170. So ironically, the Florida State Builders Pro Series has the longest race, but I think lap time wise, I think this race still, I think time elapsed wise, this race a little bit longer.
Oh, hello.
Oh, that was tight. That was Adam Cabot and Seth Knoll. That is for position. Cabot up to 7th now. And Adam Cabot, someone who, even though he's not in the chase, big wiggle there from Knoll. Even though he's not in the chase, he is someone who feels he should be better off than he is, as Seth Knoll getting a little hot-tempered there, and I'll say Cabot could have right-reared him there off of 4, but I think he gave him a break. But then give it right back to him.
Left. We still have laps left in this one, and the late yellow is always a possibility here at Richmond. Could come from this, could not. Cottle is watching curiously on the outside lane, and then Zach Carr getting a real up-close look at this battle.
I think Knoll has managed to break the bubble of which Cabot can possibly run right now. Zach Carr there, and I mean, it is something we've seen. A lot of drivers, tempers have been, causing suspensions, causing EOLs. Drivers just that you don't necessarily expect to have been, just having their moments here. But obviously you don't want to have that happen here late season when you're going for a championship. Knoll all the way to the top. Left himself vulnerable to that 17.
The car is trying to get a look to the inside of that 17 through 3 and 4. Cottle really up the track there, but going to do just fine. Hold on to that 10th spot as Knoll gets some separation between himself and Adam Cabot.
And up front now, even though he is in traffic, Sebastian Marin has gotten that lead up to 4 seconds. That is 1/5 of a lap, or just about the distance of the front straightaway here. As let's just give you a spatial awareness here. Exiting 2, there is the leader. Still waiting. There's second. The entirety of the back straightaway here at Richmond as we come to 2 to go. And as they always say, if we make it to the white, we'll get to the checkers.
Very much the case, as Curran will go a lap down now. Sebastian Marin continuing to dominate here from Richmond Raceway, and is going to prove to be a pivotal step for him to get closer to that chase title. So he entered 22 points behind Jake Nichols tonight, but with the white flag waving, Corey from Richmond, it's going to be one more lap for him to close that gap just a bit more.
Obviously, one of the fastest drivers here in the simulator had to bat from behind, missing that race, clawing himself up from 9th in the chase grid, and now he is going to be much closer. 1 race to go, and he'll cut the gap, give himself a better chance at the championship with the win here at Richmond. Van Drugman now finally finishing for second, and Drew Jua. Again, he made that call, that strategy call, and he didn't fall from it at all with a P3 here tonight.
Just complete dominance from Sebastian Marin. I mean, had to work his way from 11th in the field, but once he got to that lead, there was no giving that up.
Sebastian Marin just absolutely just wiped the floor. I mean, Van Drugman, someone who is one of the fastest guys in the sim as well, and he cleared him by 5 seconds in that 60-lap run to the end. And Sebastian will burn it on down here on the front straightaway, and while he burns it on down, let's go wrap things up here with the final rundown of results here today from the Studio Temporary Cup Series race here at Richmond. Final margin, 5 seconds flat. Sebastian Marin to Van Drugman, with Drew Jua getting the 3rd. James Scioli in 4th. Jake Nichols, we'll see how much of a points lead he lost. He finished down in 5th. Connor Horn in 6th. Seth Knoll in 7th. Adam Cabot, Zach Carr, and Josh Cottle rounding out the top 10.
And just missing out on that top 10, Logan Ellen in 11th. John Forbes Jr. down to 12th. Frankie Barroso, Travis Beckner, Justin Sogak in the top 15, followed by Patrick Moose, Reese Schaefer, Justin Levine, Douglas Dubiging, and Rocky Boyd rounding out the top 20.
Just rounding out our results here this evening. Tyler Nichols, I don't think we've discussed him much here, but he's 21st. Everybody else off the lead lap or behind the wall. Michael Curhan, Brent Punkari, David Brown, Ryan Swan. Then we had Cole Hooper, Christian DeBoer, Joseph Causey, Bryce Senesac, and Jeremy Miller. He was one to watch here for various reasons. And then the last page of results, Service Pierce, Weishart got that penalty, and then Garrett Grant, AJ Stravato, Jacob Harbor. It's all out well and early here this evening. Well, we are waiting for these drivers to find themselves into the booth with us, and And do we have anybody of avail right now? We do. We have at least Van Drugman. I'll start off with him. Van Drugman with a second here today. Of course, you second in the points coming in. One race left, but I got to ask you, what secret sauce did that 66 have? 5-second gap over you.
I'm going to tell you, man, I was asking him the same thing. I was actually distraught how fast he was. I mean, he's the best for a reason, but I genuinely had no clue. That was one, if not the most dominant performance I think I've ever been a part of, quite literally. And props to Seb. I mean, he's the best in the area, in my opinion. I know I'm the most wins, but I mean, at the expense of Seb at like 4 times. But as for my race, you know, I really like Richmond. I knew it was going to be hard to beat Jake, Seb, James, and Seth. And once I got past them all, I was like, okay, I just need to figure out how to tackle down Seb. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I was not doing that, man. He was ripping. But second place, gonna gain some points on Jake, but I mean, it's kind of just offsetting what Jake did last week, finishing second. I finished 6th. So I finished second, he finished 5th. So we're gonna go into the final race probably like 14-ish points apart, and you know.
Well, I'll tell you, I got it hot off the presses right here, man. Jake up by 12 over Sebastian, and then you are 15 points back. So I know Auto Club is a little bit or a lot of a lottery track. So what can you do within your control to give yourself the best chance at a track that is going to be largely a pack race?
Slap on the wheel, say a prayer to God, and then we go race. I mean, that's all I can do, right? I mean, think about it. I'm only having to beat 3 other guys, so shouldn't this be inherently easier? But yeah, I wish I would have gained some more points. I think I was 18 back coming in, so
well,
you know, it's all right. You know,
I mean,
trying to get the rookie of the year too, so me and Seb are gonna have that little battle going on. But you know, great result for the LVB team across the board. 1, 2, 3. Don't know what Logan and Frankie finished up, but you know, 1, 2, 3 on the board. That was really, really, really cool. But you know, well, stings a little. It's all right, but you know, I wish we could have got some luck at Charlotte or Bristol, and this championship would be way different than what it is right now. But you know, can't change the past, so you can predict your future.
Absolutely best way to look at it, man. Any final words or shouts before we let you go?
Thank you all for broadcasting. You know, appreciate it every week. I'll go back and rewatch this. Thank you to the Lord Jesus Christ for everything He's done for me and for everyone, in my opinion, but for me especially. And you know, just go to Auto Club.
Absolutely, man. Well, congrats on the finish, and we'll be looking next week. Should be a good one.
All right, thank you, man.
And then up top in Victory Circle, find out what this man did to slap the field here today. Hunters with our winner, Sebastian Marin.
Yeah, congrats on the win, Sebastian. You left Corey and I in a stump of how on earth you were able to just continue to drive. And I mean, I simply just said that you're built different, and it kind of shows in the point standings too. It's your 3rd win of the year, and you're only 12 points now behind Jake Nichols for the championship lead. So take us through your thoughts on Richmond and how you're able to just do what you just did.
Yeah, it kind of came in as a surprise, to be honest. Came in late, only had 1 lap, and that was qualifying. That was my first lap on track. So I was kind of expecting, right, to just run around top 5, but kind of maybe not be as fast as the leaders, because if I'll be honest, I'm not that confident around short tracks. So I don't know if it was the set just being tight or the track conditions or what. But it really surprised me how fast I was, to be honest. And then once I got to the lead, it was just Clean Air was going to be king. I felt like at that point I knew I wasn't going to lose it. But the pace difference was a big shock. I was just able to drive away no matter what. So overall, very positive night, obviously. Still a couple points back behind Jake. So kind of need him to have a bad race next week for me to have a shot, but you know, I'm happy at least I have a shot. So
yeah, Auto Club's going to be a toss-up. It's going to be between you, Van Drugman, and Jake Nichols. Essentially a 3-horse race for that. How do you tackle Auto Club? It's such a dynamic track. It's a track that we don't go to anymore due to it not being it being what the state of it that it is, unfortunately. But It's always a wild card race because it's usually more about draft dependent through the short runs. Don't really get too many long runs, but how are you going to win the championship next week at Auto Club?
To be honest, if I just have a chance and stay out of trouble and stay out front, that's going to be the way, right? I obviously got to run good, but I feel like Nichols has to have an issue for me to have a legitimate shot. So I'm just going to run my own race, and hopefully the racing gods are on my side. And if not, then, we finish where we finish. But it's been overall a very up and down season. Kind of finally started being consistent when it matters. Could have done with a couple more wins at the start of the year to kind of seed better in the chase, because I feel like that's hurt me quite a bit. But overall, just happy I have a chance the next race, and again, just hoping the racing gods are on my side for me to come out as a champion.
All righty, well, congrats on the win, and good luck chasing the championship next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good night.
Rounding things through here on the evening, Drew Jua. A solid third place. Drew, you had that strategy call early in the race. You put the tires on, you drove up to P2, you had the magical caution where you got to drive on the same tires as the guys in front of you, and you held your position quite formidably, man. Just talk about your night.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect coming in the race, and, we qualified terrible, so just didn't really feel good, and decided to throw 4 tires on that second yellow, and decided I was just gonna go for it, and I was ripping top 3, and we were able to get a lot of spots, and then we hit the super long green flag run, and obviously I had a little bit of a tire offset, so I was able to kind of save my stuff and start to drive to the field, and I don't really know what would have happened if we continued to go green, but I felt like I was just about a tenth, maybe a tenth every 2 laps faster than Seb, but I don't think I would have got there. And then, we were able to kind of chill out that last final run, and dirty air is just so bad. I was right behind Van the whole entire run, and you just can't really do anything. And once the track kind of just turned into the one lane, it was impossible. So nice to get a top 3. I feel like we were supposed to get a top 5 last week, and then I gave myself right front damage. So just nice to be back in the booth with y'all. It's been a long time, but a good drive, and I'm happy to be up here.
Of course, your best race of the season, where, I don't want to just bring it back into play at Michigan. You almost had that race won, and obviously a lot on the line next week. You won't be in the championship fight. You can get yourself maybe a spot or 2 up in the standings, depending how it goes. But can you take anything from Michigan to translate that to the sister track at Fontana to try to get the goose egg broke at the last race of the season?
Yeah, I enjoy these long tracks where you can kind of run anywhere, and obviously try to save it fuel at Michigan. Ran another league, and my first ever win was fuel saving at Auto Club, so maybe we can replicate that. But looking forward to it. Gonna try and get top 5 in the standings. Feel like I'm like 10-15 back from 5th, which should be nice. So looking forward to that, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week.
Well, I'll give you even better news. You are 59 out, and you're actually only 11 behind Reese Schaefer now, so even less there to do. But give you the floor. Any shouts, thanks you want to offer before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to you guys as always. Shout out to everybody who runs area. Shout out to LBV 123. I don't know if any other team's done that this season, so probably Solar Flare, honestly. Who really even knows? So looking forward to next week, and hopefully we'll be talking to you on Victory Lane.
Absolutely, man. Well, great drive here today, and we'll be watching next week. Good job.
All right, appreciate it.
Well, Hunter, we have 1 race left to go. Sebastian absolutely just wiping the floor clean here today, but Auto Club is a different ball game, and we got ourselves a 3-horse race for the championship.
It's going to be a fun one to get that down and get this season over just in a week's time, as Auto Club is just one of those tracks where it's so good, it's so fast, it's so phenomenal. I really just don't understand why that NASCAR did what they did, because at least we have it in the virtual world, because in the real world it really is not much now. And if I'm looking through, we've only had one repeat winner from Auto Club, and that was James Scioli back in seasons 4 and 7. So usually get a lot of elite changes and some yellows, but they tend to be big yellows as far as big ones are concerned. So might have some of that in store next week.
Well, I'll tell you why they did it, and it was to the tune of $550 million. But again, stay tuned for tomorrow night and Thursday. We'll be back here with the penultimate races of the Truck Series and the Florida State Builders Pro Series, both at North Wilkesboro, as we set ourselves up for a championship trio week at Auto Club next week. This is going to be Corey and Hunter signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.